We have a full house today. This is great. Thank you all for joining, and Ned, especially you, because you are on PTO this week, spring break with your kids. So awesome that you took the time to come join us. I had told everybody you probably wouldn't be here.
Oh, well, if you want me to leave, I can. That's great.
No, please stay. We need you. All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get started. We do, let's see. First, let's see. We do have some guests. And before we get too deep into our agenda, let me see if there are any comments from anyone before we get started. We will have some introductions coming up in just a few minutes. All right, and guests, please, anytime you would like to join in the conversation, you are welcome to throughout. We like all voices included. So first is the consideration of the minutes from our February 12th meeting. Were there any additions, edits, corrections that we need to address? Okay, hearing none, you have to talk fast. Hearing none, may I have a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Greg. And a second? John? Very good. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the minutes are approved. Ben, thank you very much. And Amy for your edits before the meeting. So it's all very appreciated. All right, we are going to introduce one of our two new committee members. Sarah Blanton is joining us today. Sarah, would you like to take just a few minutes and introduce yourself and tell us why you wanted to be on our committee? It was probably because you heard wonderful things, I know.
Sure. I will take less than a few minutes. My name is Sarah Blanton. I work at Bookmarks downtown on the nonprofit side. Been here in Winston. I'm by way of Ohio, so previously from the Midwest. Been in Winston-Salem for almost 5 years now. And then just in general, interested in active mobility, accessible pedestrian safety. This is my city, and I would like to give back in ways that feel meaningful and valuable for me. And this is a place I'd like to do some work and put in some effort. So happy to help in what efforts you have going on, and I'm excited to be here.
Excellent. Well, thank you and welcome. We're always interested in adding new members that are focused on our city and increasing the active transportation mode across the community. So we appreciate you being here. I would take time to introduce everybody else to you. However, with the size of the group today, I think that we might run out of time for some of our agenda items. But Ben would like to welcome somebody who is going to be an ex-officio member of our committee this year. And I'm very excited that this is happening. So Ben, would you like to introduce Maddie?
Yeah, Maddie's our new transit planner here at Winston-Salem DOT, and she'll be joining us quite a bit. So I'd just like to give her an opportunity to get to know you guys.
Maddie, would you like to say a little bit more?
Yeah, of course. I'm happy to meet everyone here. And I grew up in Winston and went to school in Charlotte. So I'm super happy to be returning back to Winston and kind of getting into everything bike ped and transit.
Did you come to us with a transit background? Just curious.
I did not. I was environmental science at Charlotte. So loved Toby Creek Greenway and changed my major.
Very good. Well, we welcome you to our community and welcome that you will be participating in our meetings and helping us think about transit along with pedestrians and bicyclists and anyone who rolls and is active in transportation. All right. The next item on the agenda was going to be to discuss our goals. And it was organized that way because we weren't sure when our House Representative, Kanika Brown, could join us, but she was able to jump on at the beginning of our meeting. So I would like to welcome her. I'll share just a little bit about Representative Brown. I'm very excited to have her here. This is the first time we've had a House representative at our committee meetings. She represents District 71, so some of you live in Representative Brown's district. I kept running into her in different public forums for transit. And I think it was the second or third time that we interacted in a transportation meeting. I thought, she has an interest in transportation. This is awesome. I'm going to introduce myself. And since then, I think we've had a couple of meetings. I've actually written her to ask if she could help us with help me to oppose the 75-mile-per-hour interstate speed that our legislatures are trying to push through right now. But Representative Brown is very supportive of her constituents. She is working for them all the time. She brought together a group of interested individuals focused on the Peters Creek Parkway intersection with, I'm going to forget the road that intersects with it, but right there by Parkland High School, to have a discussion about how we could make things safer for the residents of that area and the students with the new speedway that is being built across from Parkland High School, just to make it more pedestrian friendly. So Kanika does have an eye on transportation and does want to work and help her constituents. And I am proud to introduce her to all of you today and have her talk to us a little bit. So Representative Brown, if you'll take the floor.
Oh, thank you so much, Mrs. Hoover. You're too kind. Well, first, I want to thank everyone for your time and everything that you're doing for the great people of our great state in the District 71 and outside of District 71. Like I tell people, your tax dollars pays every elected official's salary. We work for you. So we need to hear from you, email us, call us, so we can find out what your issues are and your concerns are so we can get right on it. DOT. We get the most emails on DOT. They are slow responding. I don't know why, but they are. We just got 3 complaints in today about DOT. So we're going to come together, I myself and some other colleagues, come figure out what we need to do to get DOT to move a little quicker, because this is getting out of hand. Also, I would love for you all to come to Raleigh. Maybe we can do a bike and trail day. That's something that we can make happen at the General Assembly. You all come here. We had a Speaker of the House introduce you all. You all can knock on some doors for advocacy for that day. I think that'd be great. Senators and representatives, Democratic and Republican, work on those, knock on those doors, meet with them so they find out what your issues are also, and find out how you all can work together, how all of us can work together. We had domestic violence group here today. Today, we also, crazy day today. Domestic violence was here today. We had protesters here today about Trump, about Doge. I mean, it's been a full day today. We got people protesting in the hall, First Amendment. So you all are welcome to come here and advocate, knock on some doors. If you need letter support, I'm willing to do that. Whatever I can do to make it happen so we can get the word out, talk about the health of, bicycles and path trailways. I think that's really good. And other than that, I think that's all I have to say. I want to hear from you all what all I can do to help, and when can we make it a bike day up here, trail day here at the General Assembly, because we can do that for you all.
Well, that sounds wonderful. And I think Bike Walk North Carolina would love to be a part of that and probably even help organize that. So I can have a conversation with Terry Lansford about that to see if that is something we can get organized. So you believe that it is important for us not only to write letters and make phone calls, but to show up in person?
Absolutely. And if a representative or senator not in their office, you can always leave something with the LAs or slide it up under the door. People do it all the time.
I guess I'll turn the question around, Representative Brown. Is there anything that we as a committee here in the city focused on bicycles and pedestrians? What can we do to help you in your district?
Do we have a presence on social media?
No, we do not. I
Okay,
mean,
that's
we're a committee of the city, so we could leverage the city's website for communication on certain things, but it's to promote public meetings. And one of the things that we want to focus on this year is focusing on safety for bicyclists and pedestrians. So it'd be kind of an education format.
Well, I think that'd be a great place to start on social media. I mean, you don't have to go through the city unless that's protocol. You can start your own and bring awareness, and that'll draw in a larger audience as well to participate for your cause and help advocate with you all and for you all. That's something if you all have interest in, just the idea.
Thank you.
I
Does
don't know if
anyone
you
have?
have. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And if we can get that out, I think it'd be great if we can have it this year because the weather's about to break. You know, people are going to be walking more, riding bikes more. So we can have that strong, hard presence on social media. I just think that'd be great.
We'll keep that in mind. Thank you. Does anyone have any questions for Representative Brown?
And I can say about that speed limit, 75 miles per hour, that is a problem they're trying to go up. I would not be supporting that. Absolutely not.
Thank you. I appreciate that. All right, if there are no questions for Representative Brown, we'll move back to our a review and discussion of our 2025 goals. Amy, do you want to lead this section?
Oh, I have one more question. I'm sorry.
Oh, no, go right ahead.
Okay, so I know with the bike and pathway thing, and maybe also we can do something with pets. Talk about safety with the pets. I think that'd be good to include in some of your language. For people that's walking their dogs. Safety measures, you know.
Okay.
Because people were, you know, the weather's breaking, beautiful day today. Like out here on the lawn today, people had their dogs out, just walking them.
Yeah.
So maybe that's something else you all can add to your language. You know, the
All right.
safety of, you know, your pets and, you know, keeping water or know where the water places are around them for, you know, when it gets warm out there for them.
All right, very good.
Carol,
would be-
Carol, I wanted to ask a question of Representative Brown, if I could.
Uh-huh.
Okay. Representative Brown, thank you for attending our meeting today. Let me give you a face. So here's a face. I wanted to ask you about statewide funding outlook and how the things that are going on at the federal level right now about budget cutbacks, and you know, they're talking about a continuing resolution and so forth. Is that going to affect funding for the state of North Carolina for all modes, or just highways, or will it affect bike and ped funding, or do we have any information on any of that at all at this time?
Yeah, yesterday we just had some colleagues and we just had a conversation on that with the job cuts that's coming and a lot of things else that's coming too. We don't think we'll be affected by it on the state level. However, we just don't know. But what I will do is do a follow-up with you on that question just to make sure. So if you can email me, that'd be great. And I would take care of that and do a follow-up with you all.
Okay, okay.
And I do know that, Mrs. Hoover, I know we talked about funding here that you all could apply for with the state. Did we have that conversation?
It was a repeal of the language which restricts bike ped
That's right,
standalone
that's right.
projects. Yeah.
Okay. That's what that was. Okay. But yeah, I know that when funding comes back around again, I will send an email out to you all. So if y'all need to apply for funding for something, just let me know. Just do who, what, when, why, so you can go ahead and get that request in. The last request was asked for, I think it was March the 6th, but I know they have another funding coming up. So I'll make sure I do a follow-up with you all. And Mrs. Hoover, you can do a follow-up with Mr. CJ, so he can put
Okay.
you on an email when that funding comes back around again. I know funds are really tight right now because they're sending money to Western North Carolina due to the
Yes.
flooding. So a lot of
Yeah.
money is going there, but at the same time, people still need help in our district and our city. So we still have to continue to fight for them. So when that funding comes back around again, I make sure that my LA reaches out to you all to start asking for some funding for your projects. And also check with your city officials and your county, because they have funding as well. We're just on different cycles. I don't know what their cycle look like on the city and the county. So you might want to schedule an appointment then to find out when you all can start applying for funding for different projects with the bike pathway. I think that'd be great as well.
I have a topic on that I'm going to bring up later. So thank you for that. Because they are on different schedules, you're right. All right, any other questions for Representative Brown? Hearing none, we'll move to the review of and discussion of our 2025 goals. Let me go ahead and bring up a copy of those goals.
Thank you, Carol. And for folks, I believe those were sent out on March 4th too, if you want to retrace steps and look through your emails and whatnot. But I think we had a great session in person last month. You know, a few people weren't there, but it was good to kind of see everybody in person and discuss things. The working groups definitely came up with a good listing of some tactical things they want to pursue this year. And so after the meeting, Carol and I kind of looked at how those all fit together. How do they stack up against some of the goals we had in our strategic planning done 2 years ago, and came up with 3 overarching goals. And I'm just going to talk through these while Carol's pulling up the stuff.
Yeah, I'm trying to find it.
No worries. So the first one was around safety, research, understand, and prioritize strategies that improve safety for people walking, biking, and using other active transportation methods. And then we have 4 sub goals underneath there. So the goal being the what do we want to do? And then I guess how being like a strategy or a tactic. What are we going to do? Some of those are, I think 2 of those are new or not necessarily from our discussions at the meeting, but there's 2 in there that came directly from the policy plan project work group and the education outreach working group. The second goal was around raising awareness and fostering relationships. So building, you know, consensus and partnership in the community to gain greater awareness of bike ped safety and support projects and policy improvements. Again, we had pretty much all of those hows are assigned to a different working group. And then the final proposed goal would be help shape the future of Winston-Salem biking and walking infrastructure. And we do that through a couple different ways. A lot of what we've been doing, which is kind of contributing to plans and projects and, just giving feedback as a committee. And then what the policy plan and project team has been doing as far as making recommendations around zoning and UDO and whatnot. And participating in different things like the Forward 2045 plan implementation and the bicycle friendly community application. So things we've kind of already been doing, but just putting it down on paper. So just looking for feedback from the group, how this feels. We definitely can add things on throughout the year if things pop up and we feel like they're important activities. Likely not every single one of these will be like completely done come close of the year, but we wanted to have something that was kind of a guiding document that would help us focus our efforts and have kind of a shared vision and a shared trajectory for the committee. So I'll open it up and see if anybody has any feedback on those goals. Happy to tweak those if we need to. So.
Amy, I should have caught this earlier, but when we look at taking the goals and then reorganizing them under each of the groups, the question I had was develop a set of talking points related to our mission and purpose under policy plan and project is also under advocacy. And then the hold meetings with elected officials was under both policy plan and project and advocacy.
All right, so some copy and pasting errors there on my part. We can clean those up.
That's okay. I should have caught it because I was part of the initial review. So I noticed it today. But for those that are serving on the policy plan and project review, bullets number 1, 4, and 5 are ours.
Yeah, yes. I was trying to tack. You guys have been so active. I was trying to subconsciously tack more work onto you. No, we can get that updated. Thank you, Carol.
Yeah, but I thought I personally like this view because it kind of talks to what each of our groups are responsible for. So let's open it up for conversation from other members and get your take on it. And I can scroll back up to the top as well.
I was wondering if it would be important for us to. I really enjoyed. First of all, I did like our working groups, and I think these bullet points are great. Do we feel like as a group we should have like some overarching goals for our entire committee for us to achieve this year, or have them stated somewhere?
So I think the intention of this document would be those top 3 on the first 2 pages. Sorry, I'm not looking at what y'all are seeing. Yeah, those 3, 1, 2, and 3 being overarching goals for the whole committee to pursue. And just some of those hows underneath are going to be kind of dealt with by those various working groups, but there's some that are not, that are more holistic, like collect statistics on walking, biking, scooter crashes, share them with the committee, staff, council, other interested parties. That's kind of like for the whole group to pursue.
So you're saying the under each number, there's sort of like a statement, and then underneath there's bullet points. So the statement's sort of like our overarching goals that we'll be working towards as a committee.
Yeah, I think the sub bullets under 1, 2, and 3 are kind of what we're going to be working on as a committee. And obviously, I think working groups will kind of lead some of the effort, but everything's going to come back to the committee, and everything's going to be, hopefully have buy-in from the whole group, and then we can decide what to do. Maybe one of the working groups compiles some information or holds a meeting in the community, but that ultimately comes back to the full committee and we decide what to do with it. Do we want to write a letter of recommendation? Do we need to bring in a city staff member for conversation, whatever. So
Okay. That sounds good. Thanks.
Any other thoughts or comments? And was that your little one in the background, Amy? It happens. Okay. All right. Are we ready to consider approval of the goals as presented? If we are, I need a motion.
I can make a motion for that.
Brian, thank
Motion
you.
Yeah.
And do I hear a second?
I'll second it.
I heard Amy. All right. All those in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Okay. And opposed? Hearing none, the goals for 2025 are now approved.
Carol, I'm sorry. One thing I should have mentioned was the proposed of adding an ad hoc working group. I don't know that it even needs to be a big formal working group, but we are going to partner with the city on helping with the naming and the celebration of the multi-use path that will open later this year, and that runs along Salem Creek. So the idea was that might be a little more of an undertaking than just the committee weighing in on one or two of our monthly meetings. So if there are folks who are interested in that, and I think I know of a few who are interested in that effort, I think we just need to come together and start kind of brainstorming. So that won't be a long-term working group like the other three that are kind of long-standing. This would just be kind of for a few months while we need to work together to help plan this. But I think it'd be really good to have some folks from the committee helping push that along.
Having said that, who would be interested in working on this committee?
I would love to do that.
Brian, thank you. I think Mac would too.
See, I don't know if his mic's working. He's probably yelling yes at the screen if I had to guess.
He's actually muted right now, but
Yes, I would really like to. Sorry, I don't know. I was going to leave it to members to talk, but yes, I'm super interested in that.
it's okay. I told you that guests could chime in anytime. Who else would be interested in working on the celebration, naming and celebration of the multi-use path? We're gonna have to have more than just two.
I'll also be involved.
I can do it.
Amy, Ned.
Carol, I'll help too. This is Greg.
All right, Greg, thank you. All right. That's a good start. We'll check back in again next month, but this is something we probably need to get started on sooner than later. Would one individual like to take the lead on trying to organize a meeting with those that have agreed to work on it? I can provide email addresses, and I kept a list of the names. So it takes one person to be kind of the administrator.
I'm happy to do it if no one else would like to, but again, I'm a guest, so.
You're fine, Mac. That would be great. I appreciate that. So I'll be back in touch with you then. Thank you, Mac. All right, very good. As I've said before, there is a lot of work in the bike ped area, and that's why we have guests that join us with our work groups or are members of our work groups, because if it weren't for them, we probably wouldn't get the work done that we have. So I appreciate that. I have an idea, and I want to float it by you while we're still here with the goals. But I think that it would be a good idea for us as a committee to take our accomplishments and our goals and present those at a city council meeting. And I would like to get your take on that. I'm not asking anyone to do it. I'm asking if you think that that is a good idea. Because I don't think that our council members realize the work that we're doing and what we have accomplished. And that gives us more visibility as a committee. So it's a thought.
I'm totally in favor of it, Carol. I think it's a great idea. And I think it would be a great kind of jumping off point. You know, one of our bullet points is to meet individually with council members. And I think presenting to them would be a good jumping off point to follow up with them individually and have deeper conversations. So I think it's a great idea.
Thank you. Very good.
And also,
All right.
Mrs. Hoover, when you all go down there, make sure, excuse me, make sure you have a presence.
Yes. It needs to be more than just one person. I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, have that committee with you and everybody else that ride bikes, because numbers matter.
Thank you. I very much appreciate that. All right. I won't ask you all right now, but slip me an email or send me a text message and just tell me that you're interested in going to an upcoming city council meeting.
Carol,
I think that, yes.
the only thing I would think I think might be valuable as a timing is one of our goals is to create kind of that like a one-pager talking points. What is the committee?
Oh,
what are we doing? I think this might be a good catalyst for us to get that document done, because that would be a
okay.
good thing to leave with council. So given we're in March, by the time we meet and work on it, I don't think we'll have that done and ready till like April or maybe May. And I think May and June get kind of busy with budget things. So I don't know if maybe Carol, for right now, you could feel out when would be a good time for them, and that kind of gives us some guardrails on when do we need to. We don't have to have that document done, but it could be a good motivator for the advocacy and partnership working group to kind of get that done, and that way we have something nice to kind of leave behind with our council members. Then again, we don't need it because, like Ned said, we want to meet with council, so maybe it's a follow-up. But if you have any means to figure out like when is going to be a good time for us, I think that would be helpful in planning.
I do know that their next meeting is this coming Monday, March 17th. I think that's this coming Monday. Yeah, March 17th. And it's a committee of the whole. So I don't know if that's one where they allow the public to make comments or it's more listening. So let me check on that. But I am interested in knowing who might be interested in attending with me. So just send me a text message or an email, let me know, and then I'll get it coordinated with the best time to go, which committee meeting, and we'll see if we can coordinate it with that document, Amy, or maybe follow with that document.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay. No, thank you. That's a great idea and thought. Okay. Great. So goals are approved, and we have agreed that we'll present that at an upcoming meeting. All right, let's do a quick round robin on our work groups. I can go with policy plan and project first if everybody would like. Policy plan and project met, I think, the day after our last committee meeting, or maybe it was the week after. It's been almost a month since we've met, but we had a great meeting, I thought. We have, what we're working on right now is developing standards for our greenway infrastructure. Currently, we don't have any. And we have found that there are quite a few communities that don't have any in doing our research. But we have found communities that do have them and organizations that have them. And I think we've got about 7 or 9 different communities and organizations that we have done research on. And we've created a spreadsheet, and we are moving down that spreadsheet, reviewing each one of the design standards that are included in those different infrastructure design guidance documents that these communities have, and kind of creating our wish list for what we would like, so that in the future, when we have a greenway built, it will be a certain width instead of right now varying anywhere from 8 feet to 12 feet. It will all have the same width. So we are really excited about the progress we're making. Our next meeting is this next week, where we'll continue to flesh that out. And I don't know about John and Greg, but I think we will have something in the very near term to bring back to the committee and present to you all and get your feedback on it. So we are excited with that. And I'll stop there and ask John or Greg if they have any additional comments.
Carol, I think you summed it up nicely. I don't really have any other comments, but I agree with you. I think we're making progress.
Thank you.
I don't have any other comments either.
All right, very good. All right, so that's the update from the Policy Plan and Project Committee. Someone want to go from advocacy?
I mean, we had a good discussion during the strategy meeting, whatever, last month, and so I think we just need to set a date to get together and start working on those next steps. Probably for the one-pager seems like our next activity, and then once that's done, we can talk about who in the community we want to start meeting with. So, and I see Sarah's already volunteered to get involved with that, so thank you, Sarah. We'll get you plugged in, and I think that's what we'll probably be focused on initially for a little while. Ned, do you have anything you remember from that? And Ryan, you were part of that discussion, but I don't know if you want to sit in that working group, or if that was just an ad hoc thing.
I mean, we should give it a shot. With a lot, especially with the city connections I have, I really should probably just be in the advocacy circle. So we'll just give it a shot and just awkwardly bumble around and hopefully fit in.
Awesome.
Very good. Any questions for advocacy or other comments? All right, moving on to Education Committee. I don't know if, I think it's primarily work group members, and none of the work group members that are on education are here, I don't think. And Michael is not here, so I don't know that we'll have an update on education. All right, I didn't hear anybody jumping in. So with that, we'll move on to the next agenda item, opportunities to volunteer. So we've already talked about the naming and celebration of the multi-use path. Thank you all who are interested in working on that, because that will be fast coming. I don't know if any of you have had a chance to walk that path. I think I brought it up last month, or ride the path, but there is a lot of it that's already complete. Someone was asking me the other day, what's with the entrance ramp onto the Salem Parkway, because it's been closed for quite a while. And I said, well, they're working on that ramp to create that bridge for the multi-use path. So they are working fast and furious. I went down there. I was downtown and I walked over there and took some pictures of what was going on. And it is just so exciting to see that come to fruition. So thank you all again. It will be a great celebration, whatever it is. I know it will, because I think a lot of people are wanting that. The other opportunity, and Kyle, I know you joined us. Maybe you could talk a little bit about this, but the Regional Transportation Demand Management Council would like a representative from Winston-Salem to attend their council meetings and be a member of the council meetings. I watched one of their, all the meetings are virtual. I watched one of their meetings and there is some great discussion on there. Kyle, if you are still on, can you talk a little bit about your focus, your goals, and what your expectation of a representative would be?
Sure. Transportation demand management, I don't know if how many of you are familiar with the term, but basically it's the idea of trying to get folks into something other than a single occupant vehicle when they are doing any of their trips. So advocating for the use of transit, for teleworking, for using bike and ped to get to work when you can, or to do some trips, you know, maybe your trip to the grocery store instead of taking a vehicle if you are able to do that, or taking a small vehicle or something instead of a regular sedan or truck or whatever. That's sort of basically it in a nutshell. So we try to, as best we can, encourage the public, you know, educate the public, advertise, and put messaging out there for folks to encourage doing something different, at least for some of your trips. Hopefully your major trips that you do every day or most days during the week. So that's transportation demand management. Right now, we're working on our current grant application. We have to apply for a grant every year through the state DOT. One of the new things that we're planning to do this year and try to bring around to the different MPOs. So we're starting out with Greensboro MPO, and then we're going to try to work around to the other ones, is to do to actually have a day where we get out there and expose newcomers to the area, especially refugees or immigrants who haven't been here very long, to what options we have available for them. Some bike safety event connected with a transit use event, so bringing a bus from GTA down there for the day, riding around with some people there. They can do that. They can take the kids over to, you know, sort of like I guess the bike folks are going to do a bike rodeo type thing. I'm not really quite sure because I'm on the transit side, but we're just going to try to, you know, have people there for to translate and help us get this message out to newcomers to, you know, like I said, first the Greensboro MPO, but then we're going to move around to the other ones. So we'd love to have help with that when we get over to the Winston-Salem MPO, that's for sure. So anyway, this the actual council that we have, this so far exists largely with advocacy groups like Bike Borough and different university. Generally, the university representatives are from parking, or they're from sustainability offices in several universities, including Wake Forest and Salem College. And for SciTech, they're all three part of this. Don't have anybody from Winston-Salem State yet. When we first started meeting, there was somebody that came to our meetings a couple of times, but they dropped off. But anyway, so you can maybe help me get that person back in, or somebody from Winston-Salem State back involved with this. The idea there, getting the universities involved, is because several of our universities have parking problems, especially those that have lots of commuting students, mainly the technical colleges, but any of them have some difficulty. And, you know, students, when I was a student, it would be nice if I could have left my vehicle in the parking lot and didn't have to use it except on the weekends. And actually, I generally did do that. But some students aren't able to do that in our area. But we're hoping to help them learn and to maybe encourage their not just their students actually, though, their staff as well at these universities and colleges to also, you know, do something different, maybe carpooling and whatnot. We have the Winston-Salem, Greater Winston-Salem Chamber involved in this. We're trying to get Greensboro Chamber and other chambers of commerce involved as well. So we want to use as many people across the board, not just the regular usual suspects of transit advocates and environmental advocates, but we're having, you know, kind of getting slowly out there to other groups. But I know that Ben has been involved and he's come to some of our meetings occasionally for and that's great because we definitely want Ben to keep coming. But yeah, we'd love to have anybody else that wants to be there, especially somebody, you know, who maybe isn't in the traditional realm, you might say. I think I don't know you all, so I don't know exactly where you're all coming from, but any questions about transportation demand management? I probably babbled along a little too much, but.
What are the expectations of a member of the group?
Well, apart from being there for the meetings and giving great ideas for us to do, this grant that we get for our region is rather small at the moment, and it could be much larger. The reason I know it could be much larger is because the Triangle area does get a lot more because not only does the agency that actually applies for the funding and actually handles it, not only they, but other agencies, and for instance, NCSU, they don't apply for the money themselves. The agency that actually applies for the grant, for the regional grant for the Triangle, is the COG down there. So the COG gets the money, and then they let places like NCSU apply to them to therefore use some money of this money for their own specific program to that university. We are having a hard time getting the people in our committee to think of it this way and to give us ideas of programs they want to do and they need funding for, or, you know, that still needs to be a match. It's not going to be full funding. And so we can apply for more money to do more things. So that's another thing. If whoever joins, you know, I would like y'all to ask us for some money and so we can put it into this grant. And we're in the process of actually applying for the grant right now. And we only have like another week and a half. So if you got an idea right now, give it to me. But and I'll let you know if it's something that can be used. It's generally going to be educational and promotional type activities. That's mostly what this funding is for. But it also, I know that NCSU has used some of the funding on their campus for those, what do you call it, like a little stand where you can take, it has tools so you can fix some things on your bike real quick. If you need like I don't know what they're, just a little workstation, a couple of those on their campus. So there are some things that can be funded that are actually physical things, but for the most part, it's educational type or messaging that's funded by this grant.
I have a question.
Mhm.
Okay, so a contact person for WSSU, I have their lobbyist email address if you would like it. It's Davis, DAVIS RD at WSSU.edu.
Davis RD.
Richard Davis,
Okay.
that's his name, but the email is Davis, DAVIS RD at WSSU.edu.
Okay.
He's
Got
their
it.
lobbyist, and he's over here a lot, and he's at Winston State. So if you want to reach out to him, you know, so you all can set up a meeting with him, that would be great as well. And so my question is, do you all have a connection with Forsyth Tech and Salem College?
Yes. Mhm.
Okay,
Mhm.
all right. So have you been in contact with them? Because I know they do a lot of projects and, you know, they have funding too as well. Okay.
Yeah, they're in the loop, and they're actually for Site Tech. Well, both of them are very interested. We're also currently doing. We've just started a program of what we call buddy rides, and we're only doing it for universities and colleges. And the buddy rides are where we, you know, folks can contact us, students or faculty or staff, to say, hey, you know, I don't know how to use the bus. I've never used the bus here in town. Can somebody take me on a trip and help me plan my trip? And, you know, whatever portion, you know, we can even, you know, like we can actually go over there and meet with them. It has to be scheduled ahead of time and all that, of course, because we can't do them every day. And we only have a couple of people that are, you know, allowed to take some of their time out of the day to do that. But that's Salem College seems to be so far the one that's most excited about this, and we've already got students asking for it.
Okay, what about Wake Forest, them as well?
We have the sustainability office fellow, Chris is his last name. I can't remember his first name. He's involved, but you know, I don't think he was at the last meeting. So, but he knows about the, you know, the what we have going on.
Okay, all right. So if you all need like contact information, like for the people that represent them, like some of these lobbyists that's here, and we have some people here in the General Assembly that represent, I think they work with them as well. I'll find that out, but any emails you all may need, if you're not able to get in touch with someone, just let me know so I can give you all, you know, that contact information so you all can reach out to them.
Great, thank you. And thank you for the link for somebody at Winston-Salem State.
Yes.
The person who we were in contact with, he may not even be there anymore. I don't know why he stopped coming, but yeah, that's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Kyle, thank you for providing us information on the RTDMC.
Thank you.
And if anyone is interested, please reach out to Kyle and let him know that you would like to participate in that council. Moving on to the next topic, the draft STIP, State Transportation Improvement Plan. On March 7th, I sent an email to quite a few individuals to provide you information about the draft STIP. Hunter actually prompted me a couple of weeks ago to participate and to try to get the word out so that people would participate in responding to the STIP. We have until the end of the month to respond or provide our public comments. To me, the process is extremely complex, and it just feels very choppy from one iteration to the other iteration and to the next. And so it took me probably a week and a half to really wrap my head around it and try to figure out how I was going to respond, let alone try to get the word out for other people to respond. And so when I finally figured it out, I went to great detail. As you could tell by I don't know if you tried to print it, it's probably like 5 pages long or longer. I don't know. I apologize, but I didn't know how to do it any other way. And really what I was trying to provide for each of you is a message that you could deliver back for the 7 questions that they're asking. And so you can, I don't care how you do it, you can cut and paste if you would like to respond. I think it's better if you could digest what I've said and maybe put it in your own words. As we know, it's better not to deliver the same message 100 times verbatim, because then they know that you're just trying to copy and paste things. But hopefully I gave you enough information that you can provide a response back. because this iteration does include a lot of bike ped projects, whereas the two previous iterations were at a different level for different funding. But this is combined funding. So this brings in CMAQ funding, CRP funding, other federal grants. All of the federal money is what is used for bike ped projects. State money cannot be used on bike ped projects. So that's why you haven't seen a lot of these projects in prior iterations of the STIP. So anyway, the more we promote the bike ped projects and our desire to have those, the more focus we can give to the fact that the funding formula needs to change, which is what Representative Brown commented on earlier. We need it. We need that language repealed. We need state funding opened up for these projects. So I personally believe the more people we can get to respond to those 7 questions, the more they'll see the need for bike ped funding. I don't know if anybody else would like to add anything, but if you have 10, 15 minutes, you can copy and paste most of that and then pick the projects that you really like that are listed below or at the very bottom. Just pull those out and add some comments about what you like about them to bring attention to them. Do you have questions? I know it was a horribly long email.
It was very helpful. So I appreciate you doing that work to sift through it. You were like my AI chat GPT, because I was able to not still comprehend all of it, right? Because it's one wonders if these things are not just complex because it's difficult, but if they're somewhat intentionally complex so that the public cannot be involved. But there's another topic. But I appreciate you being able to pull this together. It makes me feel better about spending some time and submitting my own personal comments. So it is a lot, but I appreciate you distilling it in the way you did.
Thank you. So I beg that as many of you as possible try to respond to that. And if you need the email sent again, I can send it again. Last week I was very productive. I wrote 2 other emails. They're under topic number 9. I think that I was just fired up too, but it's 9 and 10. The next one, the next email that I wrote, but I have not sent it because I didn't want to drown everyone after that with additional emails after that really long one. And I wanted everybody to focus on that one. But I did draft another email for support for our Safe Streets for All grant. Our grant that we received last August. Ridwana has been working extremely hard, going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth with the Federal Highway Administration, trying to get it to a point to have signatures added. She had negotiated the last point. She thought it was ready for signature. She reached out last week and found out that the person that she had been working with was no longer there. So it was not under anybody's jurisdiction at that particular time. It was just sitting on a desk. And then we found out that it was frozen. So my next letter that I wrote was to ask for that to be freed up and for them to issue that grant to us. I do not believe that that letter should come from our committee because we are bike ped, and I don't think that the environment right now for bike ped is very positive. I believe that if it comes from individuals and it's focused on safety and overall crash rates, that it will receive much more positive. It'll be received more positively. So I would like to send you all a copy of that email, and you can write your representatives and senators if you so choose, but it is entirely up to you. So I will forward that out after this meeting, and I'll probably also be forwarding it to other friends in the community as well. Number 10 is one for our North Carolina legislative representatives and, well, our representatives. They are trying to push through an interstate speed of 75 miles per hour. This is, again, my personal opinion, absurd. I did some comparative data across the United States, looked to see what other states have interstate speeds greater than 75 miles an hour. There are 19 of them. If you look at the population density of those 19 states, the highest population density of any of those states is 114 people per square mile. We sit at 214 people per square mile. They have only maybe 20 counties that are higher than our population density, and I would bet that they do not have 75 miles per hour in those counties. I do know that they're not saying that all interstate speeds will be 75 miles an hour. I do understand that they will be selecting which counties the 75 miles will be applied to. But we as a committee speak to safety, and 75 miles per hour does not speak to safety. So I have drafted that letter and would ask if you would. It has passed the first iteration and is going next to the Transportation Committee. I will provide to you a link to the transportation page so you can see who the chairs are. And I think there's about 5 chairs of the Transportation Committee and 1 vice chair. And I suggest that we send letters to all of those as well as our local representatives. So I will come off of my platform for just a minute and ask if you have any questions or comments. All right.
Carol?
Yes.
In this letter, maybe you've already done this, but did we include any safety data, when people raise the interstate speeds, we have more crashes, more fatalities, I would assume. I don't know if that's available, but that would be something that I would think we'd want to include. I'll take a look and see if I can find it, but see if we have any of that information.
See if I can pull it up real quick. Faster than what I did the other one, maybe. Screens, windows.
One of the other issues that I thought about when I heard about this is that it will, increase fuel consumption too.
Oh, well, that is not a point that I made in that. Tell me if you see that email.
No,
It's
I
it.
see your file explorer with all your files listed.
Okay, stop sharing. That was when I was searching for it earlier. If I can get it. I have too many windows open. I think it's the problem. Must be this one. Did it do it this time? Maybe it's because I'm trying to save it.
Yeah, I see a Word doc now.
You do? Okay, good. Because the file explorer popped up on my screen again. So I put in there, oh, it's 17 states. I said 19. And that we have 46 counties that are more populated than the average density of Texas. And let's see, 14 of the 54, only 14 of the remaining 54 have an interstate running through them. Of the 17 states, many of them have restrictions for trucks and restrict it only to rural interstates. Let's see, 2 of the states with speeding fatalities greater than North Carolina include New Mexico and Wyoming, which permits speeds greater than 70 miles an hour. That comes about as close, John. Well, I did include the traffic accidents. So our traffic incidents, sorry, our traffic crashes total cost our state in the excess of $4 billion annually. So I do have a little bit on the crash statistics. I don't know if that's enough.
Yeah, I can say, yeah, that seems reasonable. The only thing you might want to mention is that increased fuel consumption, you know,
Increase.
that will,
Okay.
you know,
Or,
yeah.
yeah.
Increased speeds will increase the severity, you know, of accidents and, you know, increase the fatality rate. You know,
yes.
is what you're showing right here.
Yeah. And CBS reported this last year that we are the 4th worst state for road fatalities involving speeding. And that's before the 75 miles an hour kicks in. So anyway, I will send this to you all. Again, it's always good to adjust the language some, but this will give you some guidance and direction with where to go with that. And I appreciate anybody that's sharing their voice on this topic. Oh, stop sharing. There we go. Okay. Where are we? 5:10. We're doing pretty good. Maybe I'll get you outside here in a bit. I found out from the paper, I knew about the Safe Streets for All, and I found out by reading the paper over the weekend that another grant that was frozen for our city is a $4.4 million grant that was to replace 5 of our fixed route transit buses with new hybrid electric buses. Jeff Fansler was quoted in that article stating that the buses that they're trying to replace, they're not just replacing them to make them new hybrid electric buses. They're replacing them because they are at their years and mileage and need to be replaced. I have not drafted a letter for that, but probably will, again, from myself personally. And once I get that done, I can share that with the rest of you. And if you are compelled, you can send that out as well. So, not to bring the committee meeting down. Just sharing news and information from our city. All right. Does anyone have any other topics to cover? Is there anything that we have forgotten to discuss? We do have quite a few events coming up very soon. In March, there is the National Walk in a Park Day. I forget what day it is. If anyone knows, throw it out. April is Distracted Driving Awareness Month. That would possibly be something that maybe we can get our city media to cover. April 2nd is National Walking Day. April 4th, National Walk to Work Day. April 26th, very busy month, the Piedmont Earth Day Fair. That's always a great thing to attend. So keep that on your calendar and try to go if you can. Take your family. And then May, we've got to get the Education Committee activated because that is the National Bike Safety Month. And that could be a really strong focus for our committee. So I don't have anything else to cover. Does anyone else have anything?
I think it'd be really cool if we all met up at a park and walked in it. And on April 2nd, like we met up and just did participate in National Walking Day. And April 4th, maybe I'll walk to work. That'd be a long walk for me, but
You can run to work.
I could probably do that. But yeah, this would be fun. Do you know what day in March the National Walk in a Park Day is? Did it already pass?
I don't know.
I think it's the 30th or the 31st. Hold on. 2025.
It was the 23rd in 2024.
Looks like the 30th, and that
Yeah.
is a Sunday.
All right. I'll throw out a. Do you want me to take the lead? I'll throw out a park and a time.
Yeah.
And if
All
someone
right.
wants to join me, they can.
All right. You're going to send an email out on that?
Yep.
Okay, very good. All right. Well, it's a beautiful day out there and it's still daylight. So who would like to make a motion to adjourn? I think this is when Ben usually tells me not to do that, just to adjourn. Ben, you're quiet today. All right. Thank you all for coming and thanks for all that you're doing. And please take some time to respond to that STIP because we want them to know how important bicycle and pedestrian projects are, and tell our legislatures to give us our money to fund the Safe Streets for All grant, and tell them not to increase the speed limit to 75 miles an hour. People are already driving that. I don't want them driving 85. So with that, we'll adjourn. Thank you all. Bye.